What's up everybody, this is the 2024 Lexus TX 550h Plus. So about the TX, well I've already reviewed the TX 350 and the TX 500h. Now it's time for the top plug-in hybrid version of the TX. So for this 550h Plus version, you get 33 miles of electric range whenever you plug this in addition to having a little bit more hybrid efficiency even than the 500h version, which is a little more performance oriented for its hybrid setup. But you know, I was really impressed with the past two versions of the TX, and so for this version it's going to be a little bit closer to the 350 as far as styling. It's not as aggressive as the 500h, but you do have these really nice 22-inch wheels on this here, but otherwise, you know, it just looks like a regular TX. Also, the suspension's softer than the 500h, so if you want that hybrid efficiency but you don't need the sporty thing, this may actually be worth paying a little bit extra for, in addition to getting that extra efficiency. But otherwise, I still think the TX looks really nice and attractive. Nice front end, nice back end, a nice large vehicle, plenty of space inside. But let's check out the inside here real quick. The interior of the TX 550h Plus is going to be the same as any other TX interior, but again, since this is the top version, you're going to have basically all the fully loaded stuff, the Mark Levinson stereo, the nice Napa leather seats here that feel really great, or heated, cooled, all that kind of stuff you get here. There's just a couple option packages for like the traffic jam assist and a couple other things, but there's one big exclusion here, and that is that for some reason these plug-in hybrid ones, you can't get any kind of moonroof. Not a regular moonroof, not a panoramic moonroof, neither. And you can get that in other versions of the TX. So why it's not available here, I'm guessing there's just maybe some production you know, reasons as far as holdups or something for this specific version for right now. I'm assuming it's at some point they will offer that, but as of right now, there's no option on the configurator for it. This one doesn't have it, so just be warned, if you really want a moonroof, it's gonna be the one thing you can't get here, at least right now. But if you'd like to hear all of our thoughts on the TX interior, my wife and I just did a full in-depth interior review on this vehicle not too long ago, last year, whenever these first came out. So I'll link that video at the end of this one and go into a deep dive of all the cup holders, how much space you have in all three rows, all that. But overall, the TX is a really nice place to be, has lots of space, more space than basically anything else this competes with, and it's just overall a really nice interior. But let's start up and go for a drive. The TX here has the regular Lexus key, and so you just hit the power button here and it turns right on. Since it's a hybrid, you know, you're most of the time not going to have the gas engine kick on immediately. If you don't have any charge in the battery, it will kick on, you know, fairly soon after you turn the vehicle on. But you know, for that low speed driving, even without a charge on the battery, you can still, you know, do some very low speed crawling around fully electrically, you know, then that gas engine will kick on as soon as you need it. All right, so setting off here in the TX 550h Plus. So the first thing you'll notice is that, like, I have a charge in the battery right now, so it'll always give the priority to the battery and will deplete that battery first before it kicks on the gas engine, just to maximize that efficiency, of course. But there are buttons down here that you can press in order to save the battery if you want to, you know, save that for a later time and just kick on the gas engine. You can manually do that there. You can also charge the battery by, you know, pressing and holding that button, and also, you know, if you want to just go into an EV only mode, you can also do that, you know, get back into that electric mode. But other things here to note about the TX. So it's a really nice driving experience. You know, I'm just, again, driving around just on EV power here, and super quiet, super refined, not any rattles, not any kind of wind noise. I mean, it's very luxurious in here. And really impressive, because once, you know, you take away the engine sounds, a lot of cars, you'll be like, oh wow, there's a bunch of stuff I never heard before. Not in the TX. Completely silent. That's hard to do, honestly, so I've got to commend Lexus for the refinement here. And it's been a nice thing. I've already driven this vehicle over 80 miles here, and it's been, you know, really nice even in the hybrid mode. But other things, you know, all the usual TX stuff. You have great visibility, you know, nice thin A-pillars, great view out of the sides. This one also has the digital camera rearview mirror, so nice and easy to see out of the back without any obstructions, even if you did have someone in the third row there. And, you know, everything works the way you're expecting it to as well. Throttle response is nice and responsive here in the electric mode or in the gas mode as well. Brakes also feel nice and normal. It's actually the best feeling brakes out of all the Grand Highlanders and TXs that I've driven. Sometimes they feel a little wooden. This is by far the most responsive, grippiest brakes. It's not, you know, any wild difference, but just to me, they just work exactly the way you want them to, which is also sometimes hard to do for an electric vehicle or a hybrid vehicle as well. But I'm going to go ahead and put it up into the sport drive mode, which should kick on the gas engine immediately here, although it's still saying EV mode. So I'm going to go ahead and put it into the hybrid mode here just to make sure that we have full power here from the gas engine and the electric motors. But turning down onto this back road here, let's see how it does. Wow, there's the gas engine now, and it takes off really, really nicely. This is the most powerful of all the TX versions. 404 horsepower combined from the electric motors and the gas engine there. And that's 38 more horsepower than what you're going to get in the 500H. And the cool thing here too is that unlike the 500H, which relies on a turbo 4-cylinder for, you know, the gas propulsion, this runs the good old Lexus 3.5-liter naturally aspirated V6, which, you know, if you're a Lexus fan, you know, and you're sad to see this switch over to these other engines for whatever reason, you know, this is really one of the last ways to get this V6, and I love that they continue to give this motor some new life here, combined with this plug-in hybrid system. And so it means that whenever that gas engine does kick on, it's gonna be a nice, strong, you know, grr from a V6. It sounds really good, really nice and punchy as well. And by the way, this is the fastest 0 to 60 time out of all the TXs as well. It's 0.2 seconds faster than the 500H, coming down to a 5.9 seconds 0 to 60. And the 500H was also nice and punchy and, you know, again, very close in performance. That one also has a sportier suspension with adaptive dampers, rear wheel steer and all that, which you don't get here in this version. But as far as daily livability goes, I actually prefer the 550H Plus over the 500H, because that was a little too sporty. You know, it gave up some of the ride comfort just slightly. I mean, I'm not talking huge differences here, but just a little bit of a, you know, rougher ride than what you get here in this 550 version. This one is nice and soft, gives me the nice softness that I loved from the TX 350. You get that here in the 550H Plus, but you still get all the power, which I think is kind of the best of both worlds. And something like this, I mean, I love that they went for the sporty thing with the 500H to try and make it dynamic, but it's still a giant 3-row crossover. You know, even as an enthusiast, I'm like, you know what? I don't need it to be a dynamic handling thing, honestly. I like the comfort more. And so that's why this, I can tell you right off the bat, is already my favorite version of the TX. But anyway, coming up some corners here that I always take. Let's see how it handles just for kicks. So, you know, nice and, you know, direct steering. It's not too heavy, not too light, just right. And this also handles really well. The 22-inch wheels certainly help. And I love that, you know, you can have these big wheels that do help with the handling while still retaining a nice soft ride. They did a really good job with the suspension tuning here in this. And also, you know, as I'm pushing it in here, going through these corners, it does a really good job. You still have the direct 4 all-wheel drive system, which has the e-motor in the rear to give you propulsion in the back. The V6 only powers the front. It also can provide juice to the battery. So on the little diagram here, it looks like it's sending power rearward, but it's going straight into the battery. So there is no gas connection to the back end, but that's okay, because it really makes this feel very dynamic. You get that instant boost from the rear end, and it allows us to really power out of corners very well. It does feel very, very punchy, and there is some extra weight here. Now, it's about 430 pounds extra when you go for this plug-in hybrid over even the regular hybrid, which also has obviously a much smaller, but still has a battery pack and, you know, electrical system that's, you know, got the hybrid thing. But 430 pounds extra here for this version. It's heavy, but honestly, it doesn't feel 430 pounds heavier than the 500H, which again, also, I guess, really comes down to just how they tuned this. It's totally fine. Again, we're talking about a 3-row luxury hauler. I don't need to dwell on handling performance, but it is very good. As far as the electrical components goes, that is, you know, the big selling point here of the 550, and the reason you're watching this video. So it has a claimed 33 miles of electric range from an 18.1 kilowatt hour battery. Now, it says, you know, on the spec sheet 33 miles, but whenever I did a full charge in this, it was actually telling me 37 miles of range. Your mileage is going to vary as far as electric range. You know, it's going to come down to, of course, a myriad of you know, things as far as how you drive, where you drive, the temperatures, all that. So it's gonna definitely vary, but you know, it's just a good amount of electric range. I mean, that's only a few miles off of, you know, stuff like a RAV4 Prime, which is smaller, lighter, simpler, and the fact that this is able to get so much electric range is actually really good. And whenever you recharge it, even if you just plug it into a regular wall outlet like I did, it was telling me 14 hours to do a full charge, but it ended up being done in about 12 hours. Whenever I went out to the garage, it was already done, and I wasn't expecting it to be. So I'd say about 12 hours is, you know, what you can expect there. You can also, you know, do the level 2 and do a quicker charge there if you'd like. It doesn't do fast charging or anything, but, you know, as far as, you know, you can do a quicker charge of the level 2 there and get it, you know, topped off in just a few hours if you'd like. So, you know, great, you have that flexibility if you're really driving this vehicle a ton. But for most people, plug it in at the end of the night. you know, it'll be mostly ready to go for you in the morning, most likely. And that's, again, without any special wiring at your house or anything, just plugging it into the wall, which is great. And it's really awesome with these plug-in hybrids, the best of all the worlds. You know, you can have, you know, basically most Americans' average commute done completely on electricity. And then, you know, we have that gas engine for the days when you're driving more or the road trips or whatever. And it's really, really nice. Now, I'm going to go ahead and go out of the sport mode here and just go back into the normal mode. And gonna go, it's still in the hybrid mode, but I'm going to go back into the electric mode here and just show you guys kind of the performance in the electric mode here. So we have a slow moving vehicle turning off. We're gonna punch it. And it does let you floor it, by the way, and stay in that electric mode. It doesn't kick on the gas engine like many other vehicles. So that was full throttle acceleration up to about 45. It's enough to still outpace most traffic in, you know, when you're accelerating. You know, from a red light, I've already been pulling away from people in just electric mode without even having to floor it. It's really good. Now we're going to be merging onto the highway here. And I will do a full highway merge in just electric mode here. And I mean, you know, it's not going to rip your head off with acceleration or anything, but we're already at 60. You know, I mean, it's going to be totally fine, especially if you have long on-ramps, but you can always put it in that sport mode if you need the max acceleration. But, you know, the thing that I love about these Toyota and Lexus plug-in hybrid systems is they are some of the best where, you know, it is enough power to do a complete commute, even with demanding accelerations, completely electrically. This is an electric TX, you know, as long as you have charge in the battery there. Some others, you know, they have weak electric motors and they're always using the gas engine off and on whenever the electric motors get overwhelmed with, you know, the demands of the driver. There's none of that here in this. You know, it's the same with any of these plug-in hybrid Toyotas and Lexus models. It's always like it's just an electric version. They're hands down my favorite plug-in hybrids from Toyota and Lexus here compared to the competition, which there isn't much competition either. I'll mention that in a minute. But, you know, so out here on the highway, it's a little bit of a stormy day here, so you might get some wind from that, but nice and quiet and refined. And by the way, you know, you can do passing and all that totally fine here in electric mode. It still has some grunt here at higher speeds too. And it has been so nice to live with. Again, so soft and comfortable. Plenty of room for everyone. And then you just have the plug-in hybrid thing, which I just adore. That, you know, dual nature of these plug-in hybrids. It really is the best of both worlds and makes a ton of sense. You know, as long as you can charge at home every night, you know, I think that plug-in hybrid is definitely the way to go if you are someone who isn't, you know, completely comfortable with an electric vehicle yet. So yeah, I mean, you know, as far as the other stuff for the TX, you know, you're going to get all the top safety tech you get in other TXs. The only thing that's still optional is the convenience and tech packages. You know, give you a couple of things, like I believe the camera rearview mirror is an extra cost thing, and this traffic jam assist, the front cross traffic alert, that is also an extra cost thing. And honestly, I would skip that package. The traffic jam assist only works at speeds under 25 miles per hour, and only on highways will it then enable hands-free driving. And I mean, you know, I guess that's fine, but at 25 miles per hour, most people could probably just hang their hand on the wheel. Not a big deal. And, you know, that package does add between that and, you know, the front cross traffic alert, which I also don't love, honestly. It's usually more annoying than it is helpful. You can turn that off as well, but then why are you paying for that package? But, you know, so mixing those things, you can save, you know, a little nice chunk of change off the price of the TX here and still have all the other same great stuff. And honestly, during my week of driving here with the TX, there was only one little thing that was a very minor complaint, and that is that whenever I was driving around in just regular hybrid mode, sometimes if you're on like a long downhill section, we live here in western Pennsylvania where it's very, you know, hilly and all that, I can actually get 1 to 2 miles supposedly of electric range just with regen braking going down hills. And you know, it'll tell me like, hey, you got 2 miles of electric range, but it'll still stay in hybrid mode. I have to manually go into EV mode for it to use that range that I had just gained with the regen braking. Otherwise, it would just sit there and maybe it would use it, you know, eventually at some point. But, you know, I kind of wish that the second it was like, aha, you got charging the battery, let's go back to EV mode. I wish it would immediately do that, and instead you have to manually do that here. Now, you know, once you do actually plug it in and charge it, then it will automatically go back to that EV mode every time and start off with, you know, that is the priority. But just if you've depleted the battery and you happen to get some extra charge there from braking, it would be nice for it to go back and prioritize that battery power once again. I mean, that's an easy little thing they could, change with software if they wanted, but a very easy thing. You just hit the button, go into the EV mode yourself, and problem solved. So, I mean, that's literally my only complaint with this vehicle. Otherwise, it's been so nice to live with. Absolutely love, this whole interior, the whole driving experience, everything about it is really, really good. I was also really impressed with the fuel economy that I got whenever I wasn't using the electric range. I only plugged this in once during the week, and of course your, efficiency is going to vary depending on how much you plug it in. If you're plugging it in every night and basically using this as an EV TX, and you have a commute that, doesn't kick on the gas engine or anything, then I mean, your efficiency is going to be amazing. I mean, from just a little bit of electric driving I've done here just today, it's been telling me 2.7 miles per kilowatt hour. Again, that is going to totally vary. But what I was impressed by was my fuel economy whenever it was just a regular hybrid, a hybrid that is dragging around, this 18 kilowatt hour battery pack that's using an old V6. You'd be like, something like this, you're probably going to get bad fuel economy. I was still getting 26 mpg, and that was with zero electric assistance, aside from whatever, electricity I got from regen braking. But, without plugging this thing in, getting 26 mpg is really good in my opinion, especially with my kind of driving, and I like to, accelerate from lights, and I'm, around here and stuff, you gotta climb hills and all that. So I'm pretty happy with 26. Now these are rated at 29 mpg in the city, 28 on the highway, and 29 combined, which for the city and the combined figure is 2 mpg better than the 500h. Again, even though it's a V6 and it's dragging around a battery, that's also very impressive to me. The fact this is more efficient than the 500h version with its Turbo 4, its less power, and its hybrid assistance. This is, clearly the efficiency winner. It's just, pretty good. I mean, again, I'm falling short of the EPA ratings, but, again, if I was taking it easier, I think I could probably hit those numbers. And again, it doesn't even matter because, with the electric range, which I'm going to be using most of the time, you're going to get way better efficiency. But the last thing to mention here is the pricing and how it compares to the competition. So as far as pricing goes, these start in the high $70,000 range. This one, as tested, is just under $83,000 with, again, that package with the traffic jam assist and a few other slight little things. There's a windshield wiper de-icer, various other little things. I think if I were configuring one of these, I'd nix the tech, stuff as far as the driving assistance, and then, you come in around $81,000. It's still a few grand more expensive than the 500h. I believe those max out around 77 or 77 and a half. So you are, paying a little bit of a premium, but you get that extra power, you get that electric range, you get some really big things for only a few $1,000s more, which isn't a big upcharge. Again, when you're talking about stuff that's $70,000, $80,000, what's a few grand more at that price point? Which is why, I really think that if Lexus can build enough of these, this could actually be more popular than even they might be anticipating, because all the prime versions of Toyotas are the hottest versions. The plug-in hybrids are really gaining in popularity fast, and I think this is definitely the TX to get if you have the budget for it. Obviously, regular TXs are great, and they're a fantastic value in the $60,000 range, and still my favorite, even if you don't need any kind of hybrid assistance. Just a regular TX, you want a big 3-row luxury crossover, I think TX is still the way to go. But I think, if you can have the extra money to spend for a plug-in hybrid, I would certainly go for this version. And it's also cool because there's not really many competitors. The only main direct competitor is the Volvo XC90 Recharge, and that is about $85,000 comparably equipped to what this has. Now that does give you a panoramic roof, but outside of that, it's all the same stuff you get here in this, and it's a few $1,000s more expensive. Now that is faster. That gives you about 50 more horsepower. It drops the 0 to 60 time by almost a full second. It's 5 seconds flat for that. But the Volvo doesn't have as much space. It's also pretty old at this point. Now they did make the motors stronger in the rear compared to my last time I spent with a plug-in hybrid XC90. Those had like no power, and the range was like, I think 13 miles or something. They've really improved them here last year and made it a lot more usable for the plug-in hybrid component. So if you're shopping these, the used XC90s are not going to be nearly as well done as this. That new one though does seem like it's a lot more promising, even though I haven't tested that out. But again, you're paying a little bit of a premium. You do get more power there, but again, you have less space, older tech, an older vehicle in general, and so just another thing to be mindful of whenever you're looking for that. But that's the only actual real competitor as far as 3 rows that are actually usable 3 rows. You know, you do have like GLE plug-in hybrids, X5 plug-in hybrids, things like that, but all of those have tiny, barely usable 3rd rows versus this thing where you can fit, like, you know, someone over 6 feet tall in the 3rd row of this thing, no problem. So completely different class of vehicle in my mind, so that's why I won't even bring up the other German competitors there. But you know, the only other things I will mention is, like, you can't get a Mazda CX-90. They have a plug-in hybrid version of that. Not a luxury brand, but Mazda is trying to become more and more premium, and it's a very nice interior, a very luxurious vehicle that has similar electric range, that does have less horsepower. Those top out around like 323 horsepower, I believe. So less power for sure, but it's a really well done plug-in hybrid. I really enjoyed that when I had one of those for a week last year as well. And those come in at $59,000. So if you want something that is premium, you know, ish, not as nice as this Lexus, but something that still is a very nice vehicle. The 3rd row in the CX-90 is also not as big as it is here in this, but it's, you know, a usable real, you know, 3rd row in that. You know, so that's just the one other wild card I'll throw out there. The only other thing I'll mention is that if you don't need the 3rd row, you just want a plug-in hybrid Lexus that's nice and roomy and luxurious, there is also the RX 450h Plus. That's going to save you about $10,000 compared to one of these price-wise. But the compromise for that 10 grand, in addition to the smaller vehicle and not having a 3rd row, is that that goes down to a naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine, 2.5 liter. Electric range is similar to this, but you know, it's just essentially that RAV4 Prime setup still in that RX. You know, it's the same thing you see in the NX, which I already tested as well, the 450h Plus version of that. So you lose the V6. This is the only thing in all of Toyota and Lexus to have that awesome V6 that everyone still knows and loves, that has a great reliability track record and all that, combining that with the plug-in hybrid thing. This is the first to use that, and so it puts the TX in a really unique position, and it's a really cool combo. I'm so glad they did this combination. And yeah, you know, even with those competitors, I mean, yeah, you get a nice savings there with the CX-90, but you know, I definitely like driving this better than the CX-90 because that still has some transmission goofiness, and you know, there were still a few little things about the CX-90 I didn't love. This, it really is like a home run, nothing that I, you know, really have to complain about. And so it's, again, it's rare that cars really get close to perfection, but I think this really is the perfect plug-in hybrid family hauler, and the TX is really the perfect family hauler in general, in my opinion, if you're looking for something in that luxury segment. And I think it's worth every penny if you can afford it. So anyway, that's all of my thoughts here on the TX 550h Plus. Let me know your thoughts on it in the comments below. Huge thanks to Lexus for providing me here with this TX to review for you guys today. Yeah, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.